You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast, the next stage in human evolution, with your host, Safan, dropping knowledge in every podcast. Let's start the show.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Highly Evolved Podcast. What compels me to make this episode? I guess you already know by the title. This episode, I want to call it Following the Herd. How to avoid following the herd. Why I think following the herd is not good, okay? Imagine everybody raises their hand on a bad law, right? That they hadn't really touched on the subject or research on it. And then the politician persuade them it's a good thing. But in actuality, it's a bad thing because the politician haven't tell the public that all these hidden legislative orders or ordinance, and they just assume that it's a good thing because a person of authority say it's a good thing, and everybody raise their hand, right? Everybody raise their hand, assuming that it's a good thing without taking the time to stop, think about it, look at what they're doing, and research on the subject. Or the reason why I think people fall in the herd is because they don't want to be perceived as an outcast or people who aren't with the crowd. But what they don't realize is that just because the crowd say one thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the correct thing. Don't be persuaded by people. Don't be persuaded by people. If you don't agree with the person, you don't have to agree with the person. There's nothing in the rule book, or there's no rule say you have to agree with everybody. Everybody have their opinion. Everybody have the choices. Sorry, I spit. So everybody have the choices to think the way they want to think. Not everybody. Just because the masses say one thing is good, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right choices. One thing that struck me about this following the herd is that I saw this lecture about a woman was doing these research, and she was saying that just because a consensus, everybody agree to a consensus or think that they are right, that doesn't mean that they are right. Say like 50 people is in a room, right? The majority of the people raise their hand, and a person feel compelled to raise their hand because they don't want to perceive as an outcast, as a black sheep. And I just want to tell you guys, it's okay. You don't have to agree with them. If you have a strong belief in a certain area, you believe in a certain area. Don't be persuaded, don't be forced that to believe this one thing is the ultimate thing to believe in, because it's not. Okay, just because a group of people believe in God, that doesn't necessarily make you, or you have to believe in God. Just because a group of people believe in Buddha, that doesn't mean that you have to believe in Buddhism. You make your own consensus. That's why I like to preach about people having their own free will to do whatever they want to do. But yet again, you must understand that having a free will, that does not mean that you can escape accountability. There are accountability you have to take responsible for. If you kill somebody, that's bad. You have to take responsible for your accountability. If you messed up in life and you're not doing so good, you have to look at yourself, look in the mirror and say you didn't do nothing, you didn't do the right thing. You have to take accountability for yourself. You can't just be blame it on this, blame it on that, blame it on this, that. And ultimately, you are in control of your life. And taking accountability is part of life. Because if you messed up, you only messed up your own life. Nobody can mess up for you. I mean, sure, might be a pressure, but at the end, you are in control of your decisions. Nobody decided it for you, okay? But by having this ability to think outside the herd or don't agree with the herd, it builds you to be a better person because you are able to look at things at a different perspective. Research thing will make you a better person because you don't jump into it believing this, that. You know, that's how most of the majority of bad things happen because of that. Look at the genocide. People decide to kill a group of people. They don't have their own conscience saying that, hey, I'm following orders to kill people, but why am I killing these people? It's not right. I mean, you have to have a conscience about this stuff as well. You know. For example, let me put this analogy of the sheep. Okay, sheep is the most dim-witted animal on the planet. Okay, if a sheep see another sheep getting attacked by a wolf, the sheep did not run away. It just looked at the wolf getting devoured by the wolf. I mean, the sheep. The sheep just look at the wolf devouring the other sheep. Okay, and if a sheep see another sheep fell off a cliff, they actually followed that sheep and fell off the cliff as well because they don't think for themselves. It's like, I see the sheep falling, but let me go find out. Oh, I fell too. You know, I don't know if I can explain it right or wrong, but I hope I explain it well enough for you to understand that. That's what happened if you are a sheep. Look at the Nazis. People are just saying they're following orders, and then by following the orders, what do? They created mass genocide. Okay, look at the Khmer Rouge. They say they're following orders. What happened? They killed their own people. Just because a consensus believe in a certain thing, that doesn't necessarily say that it's right. Okay, you have to do your own research. I mean, if I can't explain it right, I'm sorry, but I hope I explain it well enough for you to comprehend what I'm trying to say. That you look at the Okay, another one, the Bolshevik. Okay, they believe in socialism, right? And what do? They force Tsar Nicholas to abdicate his power, took his family, and murder him. And they fell to a deep communist state. And what did the communist state happens? Depressions, poverty, all these stuff, okay? Look at Venezuela right now. They believe in socialistic ideas. And what's happening right now? The city, the country is falling apart, okay? You have to believe it. Just because one group of oppressors tell you this thing is right, that does not necessarily say is the right thing to do. You have to think for yourself. If it's not right, look at, if it's not right, you have to do it upward. That's why the people of Venezuela are standing up for themselves, because they see the light. They see, the socialistic idea is not, before they think socialism was a good thing because of Hugo Chavez, right? And now look where it got them, in a deep state of depression, hunger, and poverty. Okay, because there's no lack of leadership and there's no accountability for their action. The government is not going to take accountability for their own action. They're not going to admit that they're wrong because they have this authoritative figure, totalitarian figure, that if they admit fault, that means they will lose the trust in the people. That's why it's so hard for the government to accept accountability for their wrongdoing. Look at Waco, Texas. They kill a civilian just because they're practicing their own religion. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm not saying for them to that their religion is right or wrong, but the government shouldn't be dictating what's right or what's wrong. They're in my opinion, that their main responsibility is to defend the country, not to get involved in socialistic ideas, because socialistic ideas should only be upon about the person. I might say it wrong. Should be the person's responsibility. Okay, that's why you want to think outside the herd. The thinking within the herd will most likely get you killed. Okay, because who to say that the herd is always correct? Who's to say that the herd always have the right idea? Is opinion based. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to be an outcast. Don't be scared to show your views. Don't be scared to say this isn't right, this is wrong. But yet again, I don't condone violence. Don't just because somebody don't agree with you, you don't have to resort to violence. Okay, there's other means. There's a peaceful way to disagree with each other. Violence is not the right road to take. Okay, just because people don't agree with you, you shouldn't be able to take violent action. It's only ideology. Okay, but just because people don't agree with the same ideology, you shouldn't be able to force your belief on people, because that's the same way as following with the herd. That's what the herd is. You don't want to agree with the sheep. You're just a sheep. You have to wake up. Don't be a sheep, okay? I think that's the general idea of this message I'm trying to tell you. Don't be a sheep. You have to wake up, These hidden agendas. You got to discover these hidden agendas are not in your best interest. It's in the oppressor best interest. You have to see the light, okay? That's what I'm trying to say, but if I explain it enough for you guys to comprehend, I've done my part. But if it's not, I'm sorry, but I'll try to elaborate more better for you guys in the future. But at the moment, I'm really hot in my car right now. It's like 80 degrees, 89 degrees right now, and it's sunny and there's no shade, so I'm sweating my butt off right now. But once again, my message is don't follow the herd. Just because it's a unanimous decision, that doesn't mean that unanimous decision is always the right decision. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it aren't. But yet again, do your own research. This is a Highly Evolved podcast, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. I don't believe in Twitter, so check me on those social media if you want to follow more. I'll try to release as much video as I can more often now that I have more free time. As of right now, I'm trying to get the studio going, try to get my setup going. As soon as that happens, the date of the premiere is going to be late or mid-fall, mid-September, or late September. I'm aiming for those times, but right now I just want to keep you guys locked in and just produce as much video as I can in the middle of it. But I hope you guys take something out of this. If not, that's fine. If yes, that's cool. If you want to support, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Once again, Highly Evolved Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, Stefan, and peace. Have a good day.